I received my call to ministry when I was about 10 years old. I was actually going through an identity crisis. When I was 10 years old, there were two things I wanted to be when I grew up: either a princess or a ballerina, and neither of those things were working out for me. So I was sitting in church one day, just listening to the sermon, and I started to daydream. I'm sure I'm the only 10-year-old in church who daydreams during the sermon, but I started to wonder, what does pastor do all day? What does he do all week? And I started thinking about him visiting shut-ins and preparing his sermons, and I sat back and I thought, I think I could do that. I think I'm going to be a pastor one day. I know that for me, that ministry has just made me a better person, that the challenges of ministry and the unique things that God calls you into as you're ministering has really made me look at my self-centered nature and has really forced me to deal with the parts of myself that I normally wouldn't deal with if it wouldn't be for ministry. So I owe ministry a great deal for helping me learn how to be more Christ-like and less self-centered. I have my days just like everybody else. I think the topic of the convocation this year is very appropriate. We live in a world that is divided, where argument seems to be the norm instead of polite discourse. And so I think this is a very appropriate topic. As we move into the General Conference, I would just encourage everyone to be in prayer. We need to be in prayer for our delegates, for our bishops, for our district superintendents, for our pastors, and for our laity. I think it's unrealistic to think that 5 million United Methodists are going to come together and agree on anything, let alone issues as complicated and complex as we're addressing at this General Conference. So we need to be in deep prayer about how we're going to respond to the outcomes of the General Conference. As I pray about the future of our church, I meet people every day who are United Methodists who think our denomination is crumbling, that the world is coming to an end. But as I read scripture, I find God in places where everything is wrong, where the world feels like it's crumbling, and people think everything has come to an end. And so I have great hope in times of hopelessness, because we have a God who shines the brightest at those moments.